What do you think of when you hear the word witch? You probably think of a movie like The Wizard of Oz or some other movie. With witches, they can be scary. They do stick in your mind. What you probably didn't think of were the Salem witch trials. My name is Braden Surratt, and this is the Salem witch trials, a time before right. The Salem witch trials were a significant and terrifying period in history. It is remembered as a horrific time in history where many women met a gruesome end, along with the men who tried to aid their escape. Women had no rights and were forcibly taken from their homes. The accusers relied on spectral evidence, testimony regarding dreams and visions, to persuade the court that the women were truly indeed witches. This is not real evidence. Today, such evidence would not hold up in court. The Salem witch trials laid the foundation for a modern-day court system and played a role in advancing women's rights. In March 1692, a disturbance came to the quiet town of Salem. Two girls, Abigail and Betty, got very sick. They started twitching and trembling. They spoke nonsense and seemed to be choking. When they did speak real words, they said they were being poked and pinched by something invisible. Soon more girls started acting this way in Salem. If this was a sickness, which it probably was, nobody could find a cure. Some people in Salem got the idea that these girls were getting the symptoms from witches. This might sound crazy, but back then, this was very reasonable. Witches were frightening in New England colonies, and everybody believed in them. This is how the Salem witch trials started. At first, people tried doing stuff to stop the so-called witches, like making a witch cake. A witch cake is a type of cake that was supposed to stop the witch from possessing the child. You made it with the flour and the possessed girl's urine. This made a type of dough. You then cooked it and fed it to a dog. This did not work, and the people of Salem were confused and did not know what to do next. They then asked the girls who the witch that was possessing them was. The girls said that it was a woman named Sarah Good. Sarah went on trial and lost. During the trial, she was not asked if it was her who did it. She was asked why she did it. This was not fair. They didn't have any evidence other than the saying of the young girls. The next woman to be accused was a slave named Tituba. She was either from Africa or from the Caribbean. People don't know. In court, she said she was not hurting the girls. The judge pressured her. Eventually, she actually gave in. She said she was a witch. People in the crowd gasped. People became even more scared. Obviously, she wasn't a witch. She just said this to save herself and not get killed. She had no fairness in the trial, and the judge wouldn't take any answer other than yes to the question if she were a witch. She then threw other women under the bus, hoping that she would be treated better. She was. She didn't get killed, but she did go to jail. Because the people were very superstitious in the New England colonies, they tried other methods than just classic court. There was a method called the swimming test, where the accused women were dragged to the nearest body of water, stripped of their clothes, and then tossed in. The people believed that if the woman was truly a witch, she would float. Obviously, the woman did not float, and some died. There was also a pricking and scratching test, where the accused were poked with needles because the people thought that if they didn't bleed, they were a witch. Obviously, they would bleed, but people would keep poking until they found a part of the body that did not bleed. Soon, over 160 women were in jail. Many women started going to jail or getting killed. In the trials, judges asked questions and evidence was given. Most evidence was spectral evidence. Spectral evidence is evidence that is not physical, rather the word of people who had dreams or visions. This might seem absurd that people went to jail because of other people's dreams, but the court accepted it as real evidence, and the people had their sentences decided. Even highly religious people were going to jail. Rebecca Nurse was a very Christian woman who was known as a very kind and helpful lady around town. She was accused of witchcraft because when she was helping a lady with childbirth, people thought that she killed the babies, which sadly died. The lady who accused Rebecca was very jealous of her for having such a good reputation. Sadly, just like almost all the other women in the witch trials, she lost in court. Before she was publicly executed, she said this: "I am as innocent as the child unborn, but surely what sin hath God found out in me unrepented of, that he should lay such an affliction on me in my old age." After Rebecca's death, people started to realize that they were going a bit overboard. A super kind and respectful woman was just publicly hanged. One of the last people to be hanged was Mary Spencer Hull. Miss Hull was married to William Phipps, the governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony. Mary was accused just like any other lady, and she went on trial. The accusers won the case just like they won mostly all, and Mary Spencer Hull was hanged. The court used spectral evidence on the case, and William, the husband, was outraged. It was then when the Salem witch trials were put to a stop. William then changed the court system completely after. He ordered the establishment of a special court known as the Court of Oyer and Terminer. The court did not accept spectral evidence, which was different from all the other previous courts. More courts were then created using the idea of spectral evidence is not real evidence. The new ideas of innocent until proven guilty and rights to legal representation were introduced. These are key components to our modern-day court system. Our court system in America is very steady and secure, where people are put on trial and are fairly trialed. People now have many rights in court, like the right to remain silent, the right to a lawyer, and the right where you are innocent until proven guilty. Obviously, during the Salem witch trials, the accused women had no rights. They were forcibly pulled from their homes and assumed guilty automatically, and none of them had any form of legal representation. Lawyers did not exist, and even if they did, they would probably not receive them because of how unfair the trials were. It is the judge's responsibility to have a fair court hearing and a fair trial. During the Salem witch trials, the judges did not do fair hearings, and they just always said that the women were guilty. After the Salem witch trials, the judges became more fair with the people who were on trial. Nowadays, they have to take an oath saying that they will not be biased in favor of anybody. Judges are a very important part of our court system, and if it wasn't for the Salem witch trials, they wouldn't be the fair, non-biased judges of today. The legal rights of women, the court trials of every human in America, and the non-biased judges that rule a court are all due to one cause. One horrible, gruesome, and scary cause. It is all due to the Salem witch trials.